I get questions all the time, will it sharpen a Bowie knife? You know, how many things will it sharpen? How big a blade can you sharpen with it? Well, that's probably actually only about a 7.5, 8-inch blade, something like that. Okay, and it is kind of heavy. It's the steel part of it came from Tramontino, Brazil, and it says on there Carbono, which is Spanish for carbon, and it says carbon steel. So we have a wood handle, full tang, back into the, actually it's not a real full tang, or it would be sticking out the back here. So we got some different kinds of wood on there. We have brass, the bolster, and then we have like a deer horn. That's probably a eye hook brush guard off of the front. So it feels pretty good. It was kind of a collector's item. I wouldn't say it's an expensive collector's item, but collectors can collect all kinds of things. And it is pretty well done. It actually is pretty well done and straight and all that stuff. So let's see what we got for sharp to start with. And of course we go to our Denver magazine, our sharpness tester. And okay, once you capture it, and the sawing motion is what makes it cut. It's not cutting like it should, that's for sure. All right, so let's put that back in the book. There's one for the books. All right, so what I'm going to do first is see if it fits, and boy, is that blade ever trashed. I'm going to hold still, see if you can catch all the glare, the glint off of the actual cutting edge. That's why it doesn't cut. It's literally flat. All right, so I am going to run it through the V-notch just a little, just a few times, just to see where the shine is, and it's cutting pretty easy. And of course everybody's like, oh my God, he's gonna cut his leg and bleed to death. Okay, if you're a little kid, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, you know, something like that, I wouldn't recommend it. But any adult that can find his way to the store and back home ought to be able to do this without slicing your leg, okay? In the first place, I am tipping it up, slowing down and bringing it out, okay? And you can slow it down, you can look, you can bitch at me later, that's okay. I don't mind it. It just gives you something to do. Just like that. And it's actually not a very hard carbon steel, I can tell you that right now, just by the way it actually cuts, how the sharpener's cutting the blade. Okay, now come in here and look at the metal on the sharpener. So yes, it's definitely cutting. You won't have any question, you know, was it really cutting? All right, so let's get rid of that and that. Let's look and see what we got here. It does feel sharper, so let's do one of these. Okay, that is definitely already sharper. There's no question about that. All right, so let's take and run along like this. The corner of the sharpener. There's a corner. There's a corner. They're 90-degree corners. They're about 3/4 of an inch in width here. The thickness is around 1/16 of an inch. All right, so I'm just going to run it along like this. Go right on around, just like that. Right down off the point. Hey guys, are you talking to the neighbor's dog?
Vice versa.
Got this. All right, now I'm going to flip the knife every pass, just like that. Hey Cabo. Hey buddy. Hi. Yeah, you're one of my favorites, aren't you? Huh? You need to be out running and chasing frisbees and stuff. Huh? Don't you? You're hot. Hot dog. Okay, take the corner, slide it down along the blade, turn it over and do the same thing. In just a second, I'm going to hold still and let you guys see the blade, and you'll see that the shine on the actual cutting edge is less. It isn't gone yet, but it's less. All right, so let's hold still, and then you can move the camera a little bit, whatever way you want to. Take a look at the cutting edge. All right, now let's see what we got. Well, that is way better. There's no comparison. Still chafes the paper a little bit. It is kind of a thick blade, so probably won't get down to where it just slices like my knives do. But let's run it along like this. And now I am 90 to the blade. I call it disrupting the cut pattern. Just like that. Move right along. You can come back this way. You can actually lighten up on it. You can go out on that corner, come back on this corner, out on that corner, back on this corner. Come back in here like this, out there like this. Do the same thing on this side, out here. Work on the point. Okay, now we're going to flip the knife every pass and polish the little wire edge off of the blade. And then we'll slice the paper again, just like that. And I can see back in here that there's still quite a bit of flat spots down deep in the blade. So we just do this for a little bit. Do that about 30 times, 15 on each side, just like that. All right, let's see what we got now. There's no comparison what it was and what it is. Let's do it one more time just for the heck of it. That knife is actually, for a big heavy knife that you might chop on limbs and baton through wood, split wood for kindling, things like that, you don't want to make it literally sharp as a razor blade because you're going to have the cutting edge so thin it'll never hold up. So in my opinion, especially a knife, a big knife that you're going to use maybe on hard things, big stuff, whatever, don't take the time to make it razor sharp. In my opinion, you're actually hurting the longevity of the cutting edge by making it too thin. So just like this, but we're going to want to slice paper with it, so I just want to show you that I can make a big, thick, heavy knife slice actually pretty good. So we just polish for a little while, take the wire edge off, make the blade thinner and thinner. This knife is never going to do anything. It's more of a collector knife. It sets on a dresser and just sits there and reminds, I think the guy that owned this was Jerry. And the knife was actually, I believe, manufactured in Riverside, Wyoming. So Riverside is over past Laramie, a little bit south. Okay, so go on the map and click, and maybe Riverside, Wyoming. It's a town of about 100 people, if it's that. Here's a good one for you. I got to see this with my own two eyes. Encampment was Log Chopper Jamboree days. This was 50 years ago, we'll leave it at that. All right, and we were in encampment, Log Chopper Jamboree days. They had a rodeo, a gigantic Brahma bull. I mean, this thing must have had to weigh 1,400 pounds. Ran around the arena about 3 times and then literally just jumped right over a 6-foot fence. Okay, landed on the other side and he was gone. The cowboys were inside, the bull was on the outside. They immediately ran their horses around, got him outside, took off after the bull. The bull, like he knew exactly where he was going, on a dead run, ran a mile between encampment and Riverside, ran into Riverside, Wyoming, I didn't see him in the street, but I seen him jump over the fence, actually ran down the sidewalk, took an immediate left, boom, went right through the gate, just ran right through the gate, and ran right through the screen door on this guy's house and went in the house. Now the guy that was inside was actually in a wheelchair. So you get a 1,400 pound Brahma bull blowing snot everywhere. He just ran a mile, comes in, looks around, turns around and right back out. You can look that up. That was about 1970, 71-ish, right there somewhere. So anyway, Riverside, Wyoming. I haven't thought much about Riverside in years, but that's a true story. You can look it up and you'll probably still find it. You might even be able to find the guy's name that it happened to. So now that I polished on the blade a little bit more, let's see. Oh yeah. So just like that, come out here, tease it along, you got to tip it in and just like that. So Riverside, Wyoming, 19, I guess it doesn't give the date, but this is number 37, and it was made by D.M, and then it's like an XT. So that's the information that's on the knife. You can look at it here. You might still be able to find that manufacturer. The guy that made that knife might still be alive in Riverside, Wyoming. And so there you go, Brazilian steel, high carbon steel, and the way it cuts now. This is Brad Buckner, sharpensbest.com. You take care.